Hey and welcome to the Daily Arsenal News Show. Let's begin with our daily news. Pablo Mari describes his horrific attack by crazed knifeman in Milan. It was reported during last night's game at PSV that Arsenal's on-loan defender Pablo Mari was involved in a crazed stabbing attack in a supermarket on the outskirts of Milan. There were reports of at least one death, and the fact that Mari had been one of the victims that had been taken to hospital. Fabrizio Romano tweeted last night, "Former Arsenal centre-back Pablo Mari got stabbed by a madman in a shopping centre close to Milano, per reports. Among 6 people stabbed, Pablo Mari had a fairly deep wound on his back, a penetrating one, which however did not touch vital organs such as lungs or others. His life is not in danger. He certainly has problems, but he would recover quickly despite some injured muscles." Luckily, it seems that Mari was not badly injured, and Arsenal themselves were quick to contact his agent to find out the current status and quickly responded. This morning, the Spanish defender who was shopping with his wife and son at the time of the incident has been released from hospital and has described the horrific moment when he was out with his baby on a normal shopping trip. "I was with the baby stroller when I felt unbearable pain in my back," the 29-year-old told Gazzetta dello Sport newspaper, as quoted by Ebola. "I was lucky because I saw a person die in front of me after being stabbed in the throat. I am fine. On Monday, I will be playing." These random attacks on normal people going about their daily business seems to be becoming an epidemic all over the world, but you certainly don't expect such a thing to come into our own lives. We can only be thankful that Mari has come through okay, but our thoughts should be with the poor family of the innocent victim that has died needlessly. Things like this make you realize that football isn't just a game, and there are far bigger things to care about in this world. Arsenal suffer a fresh injury blow following Europa League defeat as Gabriel Magalhaes limps off. Arsenal have been hit with a fresh injury concern following the 2-0 defeat against PSV Eindhoven in the Europa League. Gabriel Magalhaes, who recently signed a new long-term contract to remain at the Emirates Stadium until 2027, was brought on as a substitute for Kieran Tierney in the 74th minute, but may be a doubt for the weekend. Arsenal are set to take on a newly promoted side Nottingham Forest in the Premier League, with Steve Cooper's side fresh off the back of a win over Liverpool. The Brazilian defender was spotted limping down the tunnel at full-time in Holland and was said to be grimacing in pain, according to Daily Telegraph journalist Sam Dean. If Gabriel has suffered an injury, it will be a major blow to Arteta's side, with the Brazilian having struck up a brilliant partnership alongside William Saliba this season. Ben White may be drafted back into a central role alongside Saliba this weekend, with Takahiro Tomiyasu and Cedric Soares both available to offer cover at right back. Arteta will likely have an update on Gabriel's condition in his pre-Forest press conference this week. Martin Keown says Albert Sambi Lokonga just switched off versus PSV yesterday. Arsenal legend Martin Keown has claimed that Mikel Arteta was ruthless with Albertsambilo Conga and Rob Holding after their mistakes against PSV yesterday. The Gunners suffered a disappointing defeat at Eindhoven. It was only their second loss in all competitions this season, but it was undoubtedly their worst performance yet. Lokonga and Holding in particular had an evening to forget. The Gunners were really poor from start to finish against PSV. They deserved nothing from the game, but it has to be said that they could have avoided the 2 goals that they conceded, the pundit said on BT Sport after the game, as quoted by the Metro. Looking at Rob Holding there for the first goal, you have got to say goal side, a big man has come on, so Holding's got to come across. Lokonga could do more with the initial ball, and then he just switches off. He's got to be breaking every sinew in his body to get back there and get a block in, but he doesn't. Arteta was pretty ruthless because both players were hooked soon after. It's a tough school there. Lokonga and Holding are both good squad players, but neither are on the same level as Arsenal's regular starters. That is a big concern for Arteta going forward, as the drop in level is massive. As for Lokonga, it will be interesting to see if he gets more opportunities in the coming months. The 23-year-old has looked really poor this season, and last night's performance definitely made things worse. Martin Keown was shocked to see Arsenal star Kieran Tierney marking Luuk de Jong. Arsenal legend Martin Keown has claimed that he was shocked to see Kieran Tierney marking PSV striker Luuk de Jong just before the Dutchman scored yesterday. The Gunners suffered their first defeat in the Europa League this season at the Philips Stadium in Eindhoven. They were awful from start to finish, and Keown felt Tierney was at fault for the host's second goal. Arsenal did not deserve to take anything from the game yesterday. Even Mikel Arteta admitted that in his post-match press conference. There was no fight, courage or determination from the Gunners, which is really surprising as they have been so good in all competitions since the start of the campaign. PSV were completely the better side yesterday, but Arsenal didn't help themselves. They made numerous mistakes, including the decision to ask 5 feet and 10 inches Tierney to mark de Jong, who is well over 6 feet tall. Unsurprisingly, the Dutchman won that battle, and with a little help from Aaron Ramsdale in goal, he doubled PSV's lead to give them a memorable win. Speaking about the corner, Keown said on BT Sport after the game, as quoted by the Metro, "For the second goal, Tierney picks up de Jong from the corner, and straight away I am screaming at the TV because he shouldn't be the one marking him. Ramsdale comes, thinking he can cure the problem, but it's a big high maker from him. It's one of those that needed a straight arm, but it was wild from Ramsdale. Tierney doesn't even get off the ground. I don't know why he was marking him. If I am holding, I would make myself available to help him, but he didn't do that either." Tierney versus de Jong is a complete mismatch, and that cost Arsenal a goal. It's a good thing that the Gunners have already qualified for the next stage of the Europa League. They need to win now to secure the top spot, and against FC Zurich at home, they will fancy themselves to get that. Sky Sports pundit slates Aaron Ramsdale. Arsenal goalkeeper Aaron Ramsdale made a crucial error in the Gunners' Europa League meeting with PSV Eindhoven. Mikel Arteta's high-flying charges went into the game hoping to clinch top spot in Group A. Arsenal ended up conceding in the 55th minute through Joey Verman. Then, in the 63rd minute, Luuk de Jong made the most of Ramsdale's error to make it 2-0 to the host. PSV wiped in a corner, and the £30 million man came out to try and punch the ball away. However, he completely missed it, and de Jong was on hand to head into the open net. Sky Sports pundit Darren Ambrose wasn't impressed with Ramsdale's mistake. De Jong has made a difference since coming on at half-time. He rose highest in the box from a good corner, he said on Sky Sports News. Ramsdale tried to come out, he's got it wrong, he tries to punch it out, misses the ball, and de Jong behind him out-jumped Tierney and nodded it into an empty net. Ramsdale has been a superb acquisition for Arsenal, quickly becoming Arteta's first choice. However, he won't remember his European debut fondly. What with his mistake and an overall poor display from his side, nonetheless, Arsenal are still well placed to progress from their group. Unhappy Arteta admits Arsenal were nowhere near our level against PSV. The Gunners seemed to be totally overrun by PSV, and in the first half, the Dutch had 2 excellent goals in the back of Ramsdale's net. But the relief of Arsenal fans, they were both ruled out by VAR decisions in our favour. PSV were not deterred though, and continued to embarrass the Gunners in the second half, scoring 2 goals and getting yet another ruled out for offside. We looked a shadow of the side that carried all before them in the early part of the season, and Mikel Arteta could only congratulate Ruud van Nistelrooy's side after the game and wonder what has gone wrong with our superstars. He told Arsenal.com, "Yeah, it's the end of a long run. Today's the first defeat after a long period. It's time to reset, to analyze what happened. Congratulations to PSV. They were the better team and they deserved to win the game. There is no question about that. We were nowhere near our level today, especially the way we competed." Arteta was asked if he saw this defeat coming. "I don't know," he continued. "We have periods where we have been excellent and period where we have suffered. For sure, we haven't had the consistency for 95 minutes to maintain the level we want. That's the next challenge and the next aim for this team. Today I think it was very different right from the beginning. Even though we had periods where we controlled the game, I didn't feel that we had the threat and the aggression that we have been playing at. That was worrying in the second half. The moment something went wrong, we just went down, and we didn't really find moments to give us some hope to react and get something out of the game." It was certainly a very disappointing night for our travelling fans, and the team themselves must be wondering what has gone wrong. All we can do is regroup and try and get back to winning ways against Nottingham Forest at the weekend. Ruud van Nistelrooy shares what Arsenal didn't do at all in the first half of last night's game. PSV Eindhoven inflicted a rare defeat on Arsenal last night as Ruud van Nistelrooy's side won out 2-0 in their Europa League clash. Mikel Arteta was disappointed with the levels his side showed last night. However, his counterpart, Ruud van Nistelrooy, had kinder words and believed it was more down to PSV's excellence that the game swung in his side's favour. I have seen the last games Arsenal have played, and I thought the way they played in the first half, they were tremendous. We couldn't get them off the ball, and we had a lot of problems stopping their possession and their rotations between the players, Van Nistelrooy said after last night's game. They just never seemed to lose the ball. The second half we changed it a bit and put them under a bit more pressure. It was the things we did well. We scored the goals at the right time as well. So I think it was more to our credit than lack of form for Arsenal, said Van Nistelrooy. Arsenal told to pay in excess of £100 million for Mykhaylo Mudryk. Shakhtar Donetsk winger Mykhaylo Mudryk has been linked with a move to the Premier League in recent months. According to a report from Mirror, Arsenal have been keeping tabs on the 21-year-old, and they have now been told that they will have to shell out a premium to secure his services. According to the Ukrainian club's sporting director Carlo, the player will cost more than what Manchester United paid for the Brazilian winger Antony during the summer transfer window. The Red Devils reportedly shelled out a sum of around €100 million for the former Ajax player. He told calciomercato.it program TV Play, "Is 40 million enough to buy him? We do not speak to these figures, not even for €50 million. We don't even call the president to communicate the offer. We value Modric more than Antony of Manchester United, who cost €100 million. We are not obliged to sell. We do not want to make phenomena. We don't want to shoot figures that aren't realistic, but in this team, he is the most decisive. If you want to take on certain players who make a difference in the top clubs, you also need the right money." Modric has developed into one of the most exciting attacking talents in Europe over the last few months, and he has been a key player for Shakhtar Donetsk. Apart from his impressive performances in the Ukrainian League, he has managed to showcase his quality in the UEFA Champions League this season as well. The 21-year-old has 6 goals and 7 assists across all competitions so far this season, and he could prove to be a quality acquisition for clubs like Arsenal. Arsenal could use more depth in the attacking department, and it remains to be seen whether they are prepared to pay the premium for his signature. There is no doubt that the young winger is prodigiously talented, but he is yet to prove himself consistently at the highest level. The reported asking price is likely to drive away his suitors, and it remains to be seen whether Shakhtar Donetsk are open to negotiating a more reasonable transfer fee. It's fair to assume that the player is unlikely to leave midway through the season, and therefore any move would have to wait until this summer. I will be uploading daily Arsenal news, so keep your eyes on the channel and don't forget to like and subscribe. I appreciate your support. Peace out.